Once upon a time, in a dark and gloomy forest, lived a very diligent ant. One day she went to collect food for herself and her family. She was walking along a dirt path between tall trees with big and juicy apples, when suddenly a strong wind started to blow. Our little ant held on tight to a leaf so she wouldn't be blown away. When she finally managed to stop, she found herself in an enchanted place. The sun was shining brightly, so she took off her heavy backpack and laid down on a warm stone to have a little rest. It was such a beautiful day that she fell fast asleep. But then suddenly, a little cricket woke her up by playing a sad melody on his violin. He was dressed in a tiny red scarf and looked very lonely. The ant asked him what was wrong and why he was playing such a sad tune. The cricket said that he just felt sad and wanted someone to listen to his music. So the ant suggested they should go somewhere else, where at least some ants would appreciate his talent. The cricket liked this idea, so they started walking together along a little dirt road. They walked past tall grass, colorful flowers, old trees, and even a little mushroom house, until they came across an anthill. The ant was so happy to be home again that she waved goodbye to the cricket and ran as fast as she could towards her cozy home. But just after she had taken only a couple steps, it started raining heavily. The sky turned dark gray, and huge raindrops smashed into the ground. Cricket was scared and didn't know where to hide. He looked around desperately, but all the trees were wet and all the houses were already full. Suddenly, he saw a little hole in the ground and hoped that he might be able to fit in there. He crawled into the hole, shook the water off his body, and saw the most amazing thing. In front of him, there was a beautifully decorated house made of twigs and leaves. There was a warm candle burning on a small wooden table, and two friendly-looking ants were sitting on a chair made of acorns. One of them was our little friend from before. She quickly introduced the cricket to her mother and told her how they met. Her mum was very kind and welcoming and offered the cricket to stay in their cozy house as long as he wanted. So the cricket sat next to the ants, sipping hot tea from a tiny acorn cup and telling them amazing stories about his travels all around the world. Their house was very small, but at the same time it was one of the warmest and friendliest places the cricket had ever seen. When the first rays of sunshine peeked through the cracks in the ceiling, the ants woke up and started preparing breakfast for their guests. They served fresh berries, crunchy nuts, juicy fruits, and sweet honey for everyone. After they had eaten, the ants continued decorating their house for the upcoming spring festival. They stuck colorful flowers into the walls, hung glowing fireflies on the ceiling, and put out a big plate with delicious treats. The cricket helped them to prepare everything and promised to play some beautiful songs for the festival. The whole forest was happy that spring had finally arrived. All the animals came to the anthill to celebrate. Some of them danced, others sang, and many played different instruments. Everyone was having so much fun when suddenly the wind started to blow again. The trees started to shake and big raindrops fell from the sky. Everyone got scared and tried to run for cover. But this time the ant and the cricket weren't afraid. They knew that together they would be able to withstand any storm. And when the sun peeked out from behind the clouds again, they all celebrated the return of spring with even more joy and enthusiasm. The ant and the cricket became best friends and spent all their days exploring the forest together. One day they decided to visit a field full of ripe wheat. The grains were big and heavy, so it would be hard for the ants to carry them back home. That's why she asked the cricket to help her. He had big and strong arms and could definitely carry something heavy. The cricket agreed, and together they loaded as much wheat as they could onto a wheelbarrow. Then they started pushing it towards the anthill, singing and laughing all the way. On the road, they met a wise owl who asked them where they were going. The ant said that she was taking the wheat to her family, and the cricket was helping her to do that. The owl praised them for their hard work and offered to give them some fish as a reward, but the ant refused because she knew her family wouldn't like it. Instead, she asked the owl if he knew where they could find some delicious berries. The owl nodded and showed them the way to a magical garden where all kinds of berries grew. The ant and the cricket thanked him and continued on their way. But after a while, they came across a river. The wheelbarrow was too heavy to carry it across, so they had to leave it on the bank and look for another way. Suddenly, the cricket spotted a fallen log that stretched over the water and suggested they use it as a bridge. They carefully walked onto the log and soon found themselves on the other side. Then they continued their journey until they finally reached the anthill. The ant was so grateful to the cricket for helping her that she invited him to her home. She opened the door and shouted, "Come in, we have plenty of food for everyone." The cricket looked around and couldn't believe his eyes. The inside of the anthill was just as beautiful as the outside. There were cozy little rooms everywhere, each with its own unique decoration. And in the middle of it all, there was a big hall with a high ceiling where all the ants gathered to eat and socialize. The ant led the cricket to a table piled high with delicious food and introduced him to all her family members. They were all very friendly and welcomed the cricket as one of their own. After everyone had eaten their fill, the ant's father stood up in the middle of the hall and said, "We are so lucky to live in such a beautiful place and to have such a hard-working daughter and son-in-law. Let us give them a special gift to thank them for bringing us so much food." He then turned to the cricket and handed him a shiny golden coin. "Here is a coin from our treasury. May it bring you happiness and good luck in your life." The cricket was so moved by the ant's kindness that he almost started crying. He had never felt so loved and appreciated before. The ant hugged her father and promised that she and her husband would always take care of him and the other ants. The next morning, the ant and the cricket woke up early and went to the field to collect more food. As they were walking side by side, they talked about how lucky they were to have found each other. The ant told the cricket how much she loved him and how grateful she was for his help, too. The cricket replied that he loved her too and that he was proud to be her husband. They continued working in silence for a while until the ant suddenly stopped and said, "Look, we can take these grains to my family and they will be so happy." The cricket agreed, and together they loaded the grains onto the wheelbarrow and pushed it towards the anthill. On the way, they met a little ladybug who asked them what they were doing. The end. And the cricket explained that they were taking the wheat to the ant's family, and the ladybug offered to help them carry it. They gladly accepted her help, and soon they were all walking together towards the anthill. When the ant's family saw all the food their daughter had brought home, they were very happy. They thanked the cricket for his help and invited him to join them for a feast. The little ant and the brave cricket lived happily ever after in their cozy home in the forest. Together, they had many more adventures and always helped each other whenever they needed it. They were the perfect team, and nothing could break their friendship.